Hello, Troy A. Shadowingtronics on the final art sound off challenge for this week, and take a look at this monstrosity. Hideous, isn't it? This is something that I did, sadly, a few years ago. Let me just double check when I did this. This came out in 2016, which kind of shows that this year will continue to haunt me forever. 2016 and 2021 are both been horrible years. So this was for a project that I wanted to do on my website. Okay, sorry, bit of a burp there. So this was for a project that I wanted to do called. This was for a project I wanted to do called Reconstructed Zone. It's basically my pushback against all the deconstruction. The article itself was about reconstructing the character, going back to basics, making the character work, making the character good, and then I came up with this artwork. This was something I threw together just to get the article done, and I always planned to go back and fix it, and I just haven't. And it's, like I said, 2016, so 17, 18, 19, so it's been about 5 years, and I think it's high time I finally fixed it. So I'm going to use this year's Art Soundoff to do exactly that. I'm going to fix this artwork finally. When I did this was when I was still drawing on Bristol and then coloring on the computer. Since then, I've gotten the graphics tablet and I work digitally now. So I think it's a good opportunity to kind of show off just what I do in Clip Studio Paint, how I draw characters in this particular style, and just kind of talk about my thoughts as I go to create stuff. So you'll actually get to see me turn this into something may not be spectacular, but I promise you it will turn out better than this. This practically becomes a what do you call it? Wrong button. This is pretty much just a rough at this point. So I'm gonna try and do this a whole lot better. I don't have the graphics tablet plugged up to this computer right now, but I basically want to make this into something better. So you'll get to see what tools I use. You'll get to see my process in general. And the reconstruction zone, this was, as I said, this is but also deconstruct it, reconstruct it. Everybody's deconstructing everything lately. This is my chance to say, okay, you've deconstructed it. Now let's build it back up, reconstruct it, make it what it's supposed to be, follow what it could be, and make something out of it. Instead of just having it being, instead of tearing apart, build it better. And so a lot of what I did there, and I'll talk about it as I do the videos next week, is going to be me explaining the changes that I made to this, and I don't know if there are going to be improvements. That'll be up to you, but there are changes that I think if somebody came and asked me to redesign Batman, this is what I would do. And this is just I'm going to make this look better. I'm going to talk about that old article, the stuff that I said into it. But the main focus of this is to show off what tools I use in Clip Studio Paint. This is the week. This is my usual drawing week where I show off my various drawing abilities, and I want to make this look something a lot better than this. Now I posted this to DeviantArt, and I got 2 very negative reviews. But there were negative reviews in that they didn't give me any time advice, any tips. It just said, "This is garbage. Get it off the screen. You're not a good artist." I mean, I'm not a great artist, but I'm better than this. So when it comes to wanting to repair stuff, to do so. You know, it's one thing when I look at some of my old things, and I give an idea of, maybe it's not that great, but this is where my skill level is. So I kind of look at it, and I'll see, well, what did I do there that was still good based on my skill level at the time. I don't see that when I look at this. I look at this, and I ask myself, what was I thinking? This is something I threw together real quick. This does not represent my skill level in 2016. So, and I was hoping to fix it. And I think my skills have improved a bit since then as 2021. But at 2016, I could still do better than this. And the fact that I didn't makes me kind of sad. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to do it right. So what we'll have 5 videos. We'll have one where I do the basic setup for the image, or at least the character. The backgrounds I may do another time, or if I can fit it in before out Soundoff ends or something like that. So I'm going to focus just on redrawing Batman here and talking about the changes I made to the costume and why, and also the process that I'm using to draw it. So we'll have one on the general layout. We'll have one where I talk about the penciling, one where I talk about the inking, one where I talk about the coloring, and then finally one where I talk about the shading. Shading, of course, as I've said in previous art, Soundoffs, has been my nemesis for a long time, and I'm getting better at it. I'm still not that great at it. If the shading ends up part of the coloring video, then I can start working on the background on Friday. Otherwise, I've got 2 more days in November, the week after, so I can make something happen. I don't know how many people are going to be here for Thursday, because that's, of course, Thanksgiving. So I hope you'll come back after you've woken up and get caught up on that, because the coloring and the shading are ones that I want to talk about, because there's a tool that I've been trying to, for the past few years, trying to highlight, and I keep having technical issues, and I'm hoping there aren't going to be any technical issues this time. But I really want to take and show off stuff this year, and hopefully this will go off without a hitch. We'll see what happens. Because it's called Art Soundoff, and I usually talk about more about writing, so here's a chance to see where I am right now in the drawing part of making comics, and plus it gives me an excuse to finally fix this thing that's been a thorn in my side for so very long. So it'll be nice to finally get that. Sorry, late time. It'd be nice to get that up and running. Finally, create what I've been wanting to create, and hopefully then I can move on with the Reconstruction Zone project. I also like to do some more stuff with Recovered, where I take a cover that's really just a pinup, but it isn't an issue number 1. And I think the story could use a better cover, and I'll try and design that. More as an exercise in me ragging on the creators, And there are other art-based articles I want to do just to get myself creating. So I'm basically using Art Soundoff this year to finally fix a mistake. Not because it's not very good, but because it doesn't represent my skill level in 2016, even though I have probably improved somewhat in the past few years, especially with the advantages that I have using digital tools to cover up some of my lack of skill in certain areas. So this way I can focus on the stuff that I am good at and try to improve on the stuff that I can't, in a setting that's a little more easier to undo, and the advantages of using layers and stuff. I'd still like to improve myself on paper drawing, just because, what if the power's out? I still want to make a good, decent art piece. I just set up the desk back there for analog drawing and draw something on paper. But my main goal is to get this picture looking a lot better than it is right now, and showing off where I am right now as far as my skills, and hopefully in the comments, you all will give me some advice, give me some critiques. Hopefully the coloring version, Owen won't be too harsh with me because he is a colorist. And we'll see how all that goes. So, join me next week as I redraw Reconstructed Batman and hopefully make something a lot better than this mess. So, in the meantime, if you want to check out my stuff, and I will link to the actual article so you'll get an idea of what I plan to do to fix this and what my mindset is going into it. You can check out the link in the description below, or if you're reading this at bwspotlight.com, I will link to the actual article. Put a link below this video, so you can check that site and then look around and check out some of the other stuff that I talk about. And if you want to check out more about what Art Soundoff is, check out artsoundoff.com, and that'll tell you everything you need to know there. So I'll see you next week as we redraw Reconstructed Batman. And until then, I wish you all happy creating.